Hey everyone, this is my 2025 end of the year video to showcase all the miniatures I had the pleasure of working on. I also threw in a couple of older projects I never had the time to get around covering on the channel here. I won't go over everything, but I'll try to give some commentary on the bigger projects. And some of the more recent projects, since they're fresh in my head, I can list all the paints and materials that I kind of used to finish everything up. And if you have any additional questions on the ones I don't cover materials or whatever, please feel free to ask in the comments, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. These first few projects are a mix of things I made for my store, some miniatures I was commissioned to create, and other stuff I was just given to paint. This is a whole army themed around Doom Rider. He's a demon of Slaanesh with a need for speed, as you can clearly tell by the theme of the army here. I think, I don't know, back in the late 90s or early 2000s, they made a custom kind of kit bash miniature to represent the Demon Prince. So I made my own little version here. There were actually a few people that wanted just a Doom Rider demon for their collection. So I had to end up making a few different ones that ended up getting sold separate from the army. But fun project to work on. I love the colors. So most of this stuff is all 40K related. Couple of old Imperial Guard units that were commissioned, and this one's kind of fun. Some gene stealers that have infected orcs of all creatures, and now the orcs are slowly transforming into these tyrannid orc hybrid monstrosities. And after all the 40K stuff here, we have some Star Wars Legion miniatures. I actually got to work on quite a few this year, and unfortunately a couple of the units I didn't get photos of. I ended up painting 3 of the Ewok kits for someone, and I want to say 2 boxes of the new Rebel Trooper units. And I gotta say, the quality of Atomic Mass's new miniature line for Star Wars Legion, it is very nice, for sure. When you put the old troopers up against the new ones, you can definitely see that the style is still there. They don't look out of place or anything, but there's a higher level of detail, quality, and options, which I really like when it comes to assembling your troops. Moving into the more fantasy-related content now, one of the cooler projects I had the pleasure of working on was a Dark Elf Witch Warband for Mordheim. Basically a Dark Elf Warband, but all the units that you would normally see are kind of themed around a Witch Elf cult. The Witch Elves were made using mostly 3D prints, various STLs that I found online, and just a few random bits that I had in my box. Couple of other pretty cool projects coming up here was the Chaos Lord on the Dragon and the Troll King that follows up right after that. These were both miniatures given to me that needed a little bit of repair work, but basically I was just told to make them look fancy and paint them up nice. So over the course of the year, I managed to get a pretty good amount of personal projects done. I started up another Mordheim League with a bunch of friends of mine, and I wanted to just get some ink and fresh paint on all the buildings, so they all got a little bit of touch-up work. All of the warbands playing in our Mordheim League were using wagons. It's a special rule from the Empire in Flames expansion if you're interested in using it. But one of my warbands, my Oslin warband, didn't really have a warband wagon, so I had to build one of those up, get it painted. You kind of see in the photos here. Actually really happy with how that one came out. Pretty cool for a custom mini, I think. This was also the year that I decided to finally dip my toes into Blood Bowl. I played the video game a little bit, and I've always been interested in it, but I've never really had the spare time or means to assemble a Blood Bowl team. But now that I got a little painting studio kind of set up here to get miniatures done at a pretty reasonable rate, I figured why the hell not? Let's get this Blood Bowl team going. And I'm sure you've noticed quite a few times here on the channel, I'm a fan of halflings, and I have my Knights of the Waffle House army for Warhammer Fantasy, Warhammer the Old World, and I figured why not have them be represented on the Blood Bowl pitch. If you're curious, I'm using ogres instead of treemen. It's because halflings of the Mootlands have always had ogres kind of integrated into their village. Ogres and halflings are kind of a little bit of a dynamic duo in my mind, so I wanted to have that. Those are my Waffle House maidens. I don't know exactly how long it's been, but I think like a year ago on the channel I did a live stream of painting up a couple of these ogre samurai here, and I finally had the free time to finish them all up. I still need to do a little bit of work on the bases for them and might want to do some freehand tattoos, but pretty happy with where they're at right now. So the final stuff here is all dedicated to a current project I am in the midst of working on. This is my Halfling Nippon themed army, and this is going to be a proxy for a Cathay army. So all the units and everything are going to be like a proper Cathay army. I have 2 of the blimps, I got fire rockets, cannon. I already built, even though we don't have the rules for them yet, the peasant levy, the archers, and the handgunners. I plan on using those when the rules come out. Even if they're poopy, I don't really care. I just like the units and think it'll fit into my playstyle quite a bit. I have a bunch of Jade Warriors, which are like my main samurai block there. And I think that's... Oh, and I have a BSB, and I have... what are they called? I think it's the Shigengen Lord. It rides like the little mini dragon. I have one of those. And of course, a 9-man ogre mercenary block. As I mentioned in the prior project, I'm a big fan of ogres and halflings kind of working together. So in all of my units here of the halflings, there's at least one ogre unit filler that's kind of meant to work with each of the units. I think it's kind of a cool little theme thing. I'm going to do a separate video once I have the full army completed. As you can see, it's a little bit of a work in progress right now. I got about half of it done at the moment. But when I have the other half finished up, I'll make a whole video talking about the process of making the army, where I got the parts, paints, I don't know, anything else that you guys want to know, let me know, and I will be sure to cover it. As silly an idea as it is, a halfling samurai or an ogre samurai army, or kind of a passion project thing I've always wanted to have in Warhammer, this kind of seemed like a great opportunity to get both projects done at the same time in a very thematic way. So I'm excited to work on it and see how it does on the battlefield. And other than that, that's gonna pretty much wrap up all the projects I've gotten to work on this year. I tried not to include too much stuff I've already talked about on the channel or showcased here, but a couple of them managed to sneak their way in here, as I'm sure you can tell. So hopefully it wasn't too redundant for you and you guys got to see some cool new stuff that has been worked on this year. We'll have to see what kind of new miniatures we have in store for us in the year 2026. I, myself, am looking forward to it. That's all I got for now, folks. Have a great day, and I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.